Hey guys, tonight's video I just want to talk about something that's kind of plagued me, or not plagued me, just something that kind of crossed my mind and would make a good video tonight. And I wanted to talk about, in tonight's video I wanted to talk about kind of relationships and breakups. I don't know what to title this video. I'm going to title it Breakups because I went through one, my very first one. I want to spend this video and tell you guys, as you know, probably from my life story, that I had a girlfriend for a short time. From July 16th, we started talking, formed a relationship in about August, and had a relationship till about December 28th at 10 o'clock. 10:10 in the morning is when she said it's over. I want to make this video and talk about what my first relationship was like, what it felt like. What I can say is it's like puppy love. It's what people were used to tell me. Remember, it was just like yesterday. It's just like, just like yesterday. I remember this. Just start off a normal day at work. I was on this Facebook dating for a while. Sitting there on lunch break at work on I think it was a Friday, I think it was. And then somebody messaged me. I had a girl message me. She said hello, and that was it. Kind of like me, I'm weird. I just say hello, I expect a response. That's what I've done with a lot of girls. So I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I go to my boss. I go to the other supervisors. One of the other supervisors. And then I go to my coworker. I'm like, what do I do? I got a response. And then they told me. So I just said hi back. And said, I like your pictures of your dog. I love dogs. She said thank you, and I was just jumping for joy this whole time. Like, oh my god, she's actually responding. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And they were sitting there trying to kind of give me advice, and we started off a conversation from there, kind of like, hey, where do you work? Hey, I work here. Hey, I work here. Like, I told her, like, oh, I think I remember, like, it started off like, oh, I work at Hy-Vee too. Yeah, I'm part-time at Hy-Vee. I have a full-time job. And she's like, I told her I have a full-time job, 1 day a week at Hy-Vee. And she's like, so I'm like, nothing special. She's like, oh, I'm nothing special either. Just full-time at Hy-Vee in the kitchen. So, and then I was telling her some other things about my life, like where I worked like I said, where I worked full-time, and that I also had a dog. And it's kind of a normal conversation started off with, kind of like that. And then just like, hey, what do you like to do? I like to do this. Well, I like to do this. And then stuff like, do you like horror movies? And start off a conversation until I got home. And then, well, I had to get back to work. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Because I was at work. I was on lunch break. And I'm like, I'll message you when I'm off work. And message her when I got home here. And kept having a conversation of like, what movies do you like? Oh, I like horror movies. Yeah, I like horror movies too. Started talking about jump scares and stuff, and I was just jumping for joy. Like a little kid in a candy store. I was just jumping for joy. Like a young kid in a candy store. I don't know how to say it. Or like an excited puppy just who never got to see someone. Just kind of felt like that song off Beethoven. Start off as an ordinary day, and in the day I fall in love. I started listening to that when we formed our relationship, but started talking to her, and I talked to her for about a day, and then she's like, do you have Snapchat? I feel more comfortable talking on Snapchat. So then I'm like, I used to have it, I'll re-download it, and that's when I re-downloaded my Snapchat. Set up a new account. I'm like, okay, it's all set up. Here it is. We started talking on Snapchat, and from there, it was talking about every single day about just like hey, I'm at work. Hey, I made this for myself because I always made cookies and stuff. I'd send her pictures of like stuff I made, like cookies or what I was eating for the night. Hey, I'm eating this. Easy day at work, or hey, it was a hard day at work. We would talk about work and just stuff like that. And we were talking for about, I think it was about a week, and then she's like, was like 2 weeks, and I was like, I was too nervous to ask her. I went to another coworker, another supervisor. I'm like, hey, I'm too nervous to ask her, can we meet up sometime? And I was asking her, how do I ask her? Because I'm like, I don't want to mess up. She ended up sending the message. She's like, I'll send the message. Then just saying, and all she said was like, hey, we've been talking for a while. How about we meet up sometime? And then that's when we decided, okay, how about we do meet up sometime? How about this date? And it's like, okay, how about this date? And then no, it was like, well, I got to look at my schedule. Okay, I'll figure out my schedule. So then as we were trying to figure that out, she was kind of like at first like, "Hey, I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship. I would like to meet you just as a friend, maybe make good friends with you and be friends with you. That's about it." So I'm like, "Okay." Kind of brought me down, but then about a couple days later, she's like, "You know what? I gave it some thought. I think I could meet you. I think I could. I think I am ready for a relationship." And then that's when we decided a date. I can't even remember the date. It was like a Thursday or Friday, I think. Um, I can't remember. I think I worked the next day, so I think it was like a Thursday. And then when she gave me her address, and I went and met her, just like my body was so tense to meet someone because I'm like, oh my god, my dreams, all my dreams, everything I ever dreamed for is coming true, and I'm like, oh my god, my dreams are coming true. I was just so nervous on my way there, so nervous. And then like when I actually found her house, I'm like, I was like so nervous to even walk up there. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so nervous. So then I meet her. I met her mom. I met her dog. I met her sister. Weird thing is, her sister looks at me just like from my high school, who ended up having a kid now. I'm like, oh my god, it better not be. And I told her that when we went to dinner. I'm like, your sister literally looked like a girl I knew from high school. I was nervous at first. She wasn't, but she didn't think she did. I showed her a picture. She's like, I don't look nothing like her. And I'm like, just kind of at first glance, I don't know. Maybe it was probably just me, but I remember our first date. We went to Applebee's. Just didn't know what to talk about. We were both about the same way. Like, I was really nervous because I never went out with a girl besides prom. Twice my junior and senior year, I took a girl to prom. Two different, like a different girl my senior year than my junior year. But I didn't know what to say. I was just so nervous. She was nervous, and she was nervous, and it just we both didn't know what to say. But we ended up kind of just like same conversation. We were talking like how our work was like, how we liked our work, what annoyed us at work and stuff, and then just after that, I remember going back to her house. I met her stepsister and then her stepbrother because they came over for a visit, and then I even learned how to play. I think it was Uno. I think I learned how to play Uno. I'm like, I never played Uno. And we watched a movie too. I remember the name of the movie too. It was called Carrie. I don't know which one specifically it was. I think it was the older one because there's an older one and a newer one. But it was just crazy. I ended up telling her how I felt about him. Like, she destroyed the whole town being, like, possessed by her mom or something, I think, because her mom was murdered or something. It was just kind of fun. Weird. It was a weird movie, and just learned how to play. I was there till, shit, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. But before I left, gave each other a hug, and just kind of were like, we'll have to go out again sometime. And then I think it was like after our second date, she sent me like a status thing to be in a relationship on Facebook. So I accepted it, and it said in a relationship with this person, and just sorry guys, but it said in a relationship. I had so many likes on it, so much support. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I remember after our first day, I had everybody ask me the next day at work, how was this girl? I'm like, well, I was so nervous for nothing. She's actually pretty damn cool. And then, like I said, that Facebook stuff happened, and everybody was just so happy for me, and just life was like felt like to me just like a puppy love. It was just like a most happy I'd been in years. I told her that. It's been like since the middle school since I've been this happy. And that's when I started listening to Beethoven's Second the Day I Fall in Love. And I listened to all these love songs because I felt so in love. And then I remember after a few dates, every day people would ask me when I went to work, like after our dates, because we went out about once a week, like, oh, did you kiss her yet? Did you kiss her yet? I'm like, no, no. It just was like, no, I don't know when the right time will be. I always thought that was a girl's job. And then we were dating for about a month and a half, I think. And then I brought it up to her. Well, every day people ask me at work, did you kiss her yet? And she said there's going to be a right time and a right place. And then just before I left her house, I remember that night, kind of talked about it a lot. And she's like, hey, one other thing before you go. And it just kind of like a chicken peck. It's kind of funny. It was just literally like a chicken peck, a kiss. And then I just, chicken peck kiss. But that was the first girl ever. It's crazy to say. I was 19 at the time, but never in 19 years had I ever been kissed by a girl, guys, believe it or not. And just, I was telling her all this, and it felt so special. I'm like, I about died of like so much happiness, and I was tearing up and crying and everything after she kissed me. It was just because I was so happy. I felt so special. And then after that, we would chit chat on Facebook every day. Always talk about our days and everything. Just, yeah. And then some stuff happened at work. I can't say what, but just, all I'm going to say, somebody I was in contact at work came down with COVID. And I cried, but the reason I cried was I was worried about them, but I was more worried about her leaving me because I was in contact with somebody with COVID. And I ended up just being so nervous when we went out that day because I tested negative. Because we all had to get tested, but I tested negative. I'm like, I'm still negative. But I told her, I was just so nervous that you were going to leave me or you were going to break up with me. And then I remember her sister and stuff telling me, like, oh, I'm not going to say her name, but, oh, it is her. Like, she ain't going anywhere. And she always told me, I'm not going anywhere. She's like, I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. She's like, I love you. I'm not going anywhere. She's like, even if you get the COVID, she's like, we'll figure it out. I'm not going anywhere. And it did make me feel special when she said that. And just some of the stupid stuff I did, I just was always nervous of losing her. Like I hit somebody's car at work, and I ended up calling her and saying I hit somebody's car. And she told me the same thing. I'm not going anywhere just because you hit somebody's car. She's like, we all make mistakes. I was always nervous of everything I did. Like, I felt stupid because I was afraid I was going to lose her. And she just would tell me I'm not going anywhere. She's like, we all make mistakes. Just made me feel so good when she said that. And then I also hit a mailbox. I'm a bad driver, guys. I hit a mailbox. I ended up going to her work. I messaged her and told her. I didn't call her because after I hit somebody's car, I called her and told her I hit somebody's car because I was so upset. I was afraid she was going to leave me over that. But then not long after that, I hit somebody's mailbox, dented up the whole side of my truck, and ended up going to her work because I was so nervous. She was on break, of course, but I went to her work, and she's always said, "Hey, we all make mistakes. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I love you," and that's what made me feel special. All the time she said that I'm not going anywhere because I love you. It was the best feeling I ever had, and I remember the age. One of the, I shouldn't say that, but one of the workers was kind of warning me through the whole time, were telling me puppy love when I was in love with her. Puppy love, and she said at one point, "Hey, don't get too attached to your first one. The first one always breaks your heart." And I always blew her off, but she ended up being right. Sometimes you gotta face facts and realize that you can't listen to other people, but sometimes things that are said do come true. And I did have a really good 20th birthday. I remember, I'm getting ahead of myself with that too, but I remember also it was when I got her for her birthday, everybody said I was crazy because I got her a $75. It was $75. It was a Katy Perry sweatshirt. It was just so goofy. It was just like, and I got her flowers. Of course, I'll get into that in a sec here, but I got her flowers and a Katy Perry sweatshirt. I spent like $100. They're like, "You're crazy, you're crazy." But I'm like, I love her. It's her birthday. I posted on my status, "Happy birthday to this wonderful girl. I love you so much." Put her name, but I said, "Love you so much." And she got a bunch of happy birthdays from all the coworkers and most of my Facebook friends. And yeah, it's just that made her feel good. She thanked everyone. She went down the lawn. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." It was really goofy, but yeah. And I think not long after her birthday, I got Employee of the Month. I remember that was one thing I was excited. I would tell her good things too that happened in my life. Like, "Hey, I got Employee of the Month." I had that post on my Facebook. If you see that, you'll actually see her. If you have me on Facebook, you actually see her name and see what she said. She said, "So proud of you." And I said, "Thank you." And that's what made me feel good. Every time I did something good at work or had a problem at work, she would always talk to me. She was always somebody there, willing, non judgmental. Just somebody who didn't judge me. If I had a problem at work, like, of course you deal with your problems at work, but if I just needed to get off my chest, the problems get dealt with. But if I just wanted to get some off my chest or talk about my day, if it was a good or bad day, she was always there for me. And I was always there for her. And I guess yeah, it was just a special thing. They called it puppy love because I think it was only our second date she got me a gift. She got me a shirt, and I keep all the gifts she got me under my bed. She got me quite a few gifts. I bought her flowers after that. After she got me that shirt, it was like a $30 shirt from Target. I bought her flowers because it was only our like second or third date, and everybody was like, "Oh," just like it's like a special thing. I'm not gonna show you guys all the gifts she got me, but she got me not a whole lot, but quite a bit of gifts. And then I even put like the first gift I got was that, and then I got a stocking cap. She was wearing it, but I don't know, just out of the blue, I kind of started wearing it. So then I just kept it from there. That was the second gift, I think. I can't keep track of how the gifts went, but she got me like a little keychain thing, a little stuffed penguin. Her dad won for her, and her biological dad passed away. But I'm like, are you sure? Because she was like really close to her dad. It sounded like, and she just didn't take his passing away well. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, this is something special. She's like, well, I love you, and she's like, yes. She's like, just something you can sleep with and think of me, because I would always tell her I wish I could sleep with you through Messenger before I went to bed, and it was just like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. That was one of the gifts, so yeah. That's why everybody told me it was like puppy love, and it was like puppy love. But then hit my birthday. Her phone was acting up at that time, like not charging. I tried to help her with that, but she put a happy birthday thing for me. We went out for my birthday. I don't remember where I went, where I wanted to go, because she didn't have a driver's license or a vehicle, which you can't point that against someone. Nobody's perfect, you know. But just went out for that. It was a pretty good time, and then just this is where it gets crazy. But the week after that, that was the last time I ever saw her face to face. And to this day, that's the last time I ever saw her face to face. We started, I think it was that December 12th. I remember very vividly December 12th. It was her mom's birthday, and we went out for that. And she kind of felt bad. I'm like, I'm happy just so long as I'm with you. You just, that was the last time I ever saw her. Kind of like that scene from The Grinch, and that was the last time you ever saw them. The very last time. And it was. You know? I remembered I asked her what she wanted for Christmas. Um, her Christmas present. She gave me a small part of my Christmas present, which I put under the bed here too. She's like, I got something even more special for you. It hasn't arrived. And I ordered her Christmas present, what she wanted. And I bought her a necklace too that said love on it, which was like $30. This other shirt thing was like $60. So about another $100 in gifts. But then it was that week kind of before Christmas. She said, I'm not feeling good. Just don't want to go out. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. But then I knew that week of Christmas and Christmas Day she was having family over. So just because of the whole COVID thing being precautionary, yeah, I understand. But then December 28th, December 27th, actually, chatting that Sunday night. I was just so tired I fell asleep. But then I looked at that message and she just said, hey, I feel very one-sided. I feel like this relationship isn't going to work out. And I'm like, hey, like I told you when we saw each other all the time, I never dated in high school, which, believe it or not, I never ever dated in high school, guys. I wasn't good enough for anyone. I shouldn't say that, but I wasn't ever good enough for anyone. I was a loudmouth. Girls in my high school wanted to go out drinking and smoking dope. And they knew I'd brag about it, so they never trusted me. And I just wasn't ever good enough in my high school for anyone. And I told her that. I'm like, I was never good enough for anyone. You're the first girl that gave me a chance. I'm like, I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't want to mess up. She's like, well, you can't fix something that's broke. I just feel very one-sided. So then I ask her, could we talk about it face to face sometime? I know it may not work out, but could we talk? I was saying this whole thing at work. It was a morning break. When I had that first chat, that was afternoon break. That was lunch break, but this was morning break. She's like, no, I don't feel like it's gonna work out. And I saw on her Facebook before she blocked me, she changed her status to single and everything. I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? And then she's like, last thing she says to me is, hey, it's over. So I said, okay, twice. Slammed my phone down and cried. Cried like a little kid in front of everybody. And sorry, guys, but slammed my phone down, cried like a little kid in front of everybody, and just said, okay, okay. Literally like that, said it twice, and then she blocked me after that. Didn't even look at my message. I could have said something good. She didn't even look at it. And I just felt so stupid. It's taken me over a month to get over this. I'm getting happy again, but it's taken me over a month to get over this. But the first one always hurts. I was told that by an aide. The first one always hurts. And it does. Because one time I was laying downstairs, it was like around 6:30. She said, hey, I am in a bit of a bind. What are you doing? I'm like, nothing, just tired. She's like, well, I need a ride home. I know it's asking a lot. She's like, I'll pay you. So could you give me a ride home? She lived right in town, but I was like 30 minutes away because Mason City from here is like 30 minutes away. So I'm like, okay. And she was telling me how she told one of her coworkers, well, my boyfriend's coming to get me. And what made me feel special for her too was like when her coworker said, well, that's nice. He's for sure a keeper. And she said, yeah, I agreed with her. Yeah, he is. But yeah, like I said, she broke up with me through a text and getting to know her. We both got to know each other really well. We didn't even date 6 months. I think the thing is, if I felt like I wanted to break up with her, I probably would have done the same thing through a damn text because I feel like we both didn't want to see we both would have not wanted to see the reaction the other one was going to give. She probably didn't want to see how I would have reacted because depending on where it would have happened, I would have not taken it well. Looking back and thinking about it now that I'm recovered, I would have not taken it well. I would have been so clingy and everything. And sometimes I feel like I messed up because the one night she messaged me when I was leaving saying, hey, you're being way too clingy with me, and I was. Like, I was being too grabby and everything, like, not giving her, like, I don't know how to say, not giving her space she needed. Like, I can understand it's a relationship. You want to be close together, but you also got to get breathing room, and I wasn't always doing that. And she just said, I was crying on my way home. She sent me those messages because she just said, I don't want to have anything bad happen because I feel like that could rip us apart. And that was about a month before she broke up with me. Things started going good again, though. I started respecting her a bit more, and I felt like things were going pretty good from there, though. Maybe it's something I did, though. I looked at. To this day, I don't know what I did wrong. I never got the answer. But I've learned to face facts. It's kind of like what's going on in today's world. That we're not always going to get the answers we want. I probably won't ever get the answer I want on what I did wrong. I have a feeling maybe I was too clingy. Maybe that's what I did wrong. I don't know. But won't find out what I did wrong. Probably never will. And just, I want to make this video just to open up to you guys. And if you don't believe me, that's your fucking problem. You don't believe me that I had a relationship, your problem. I know I did. And that's all that matters. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. But first relationships are like puppy love. And just very rarely, I think, work out. I've seen these people that marry their high school sweethearts. Everything's so perfect, 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 perfect. But, eventually, like her mom, she married her high school sweetheart. Had two kids. I think three. I'm thinking just two. Just her and her sister. But then they got a divorce. I mean, I think just the thing is very rare. Not to be rude, if you're happy with who you are, yeah. But I think very rarely, from what I've seen, high school sweethearts don't always work out. Like at first they do for like the first. I've seen them go as long as one go as long as I think their high school sweetheart from high school went on about 10 years, over 10 years, and they got divorced. So I just think first loves don't always work out. It's all perfect at first. Everything is, oh, I'm married, I'm perfect. I had a kid, like, and then, like, just sometimes it just doesn't work out. But you get the answers you want. Sometimes you don't, though. You just, that's the way it's going on in today's world. Nobody can face facts. Everybody wants answers. And sometimes you guys just got to realize you're not going to get the answers you want. You know? Sometimes you just got to face facts that you're not going to get all the answers you want, and that's that. So, but I think that's going to be it for tonight's video, guys. I just wanted to get in depth about that, do something a bit different. So remember to like, subscribe, and have a good Thursday night.